Hi there. So I was interviewed by Vogue recently to give my thoughts on Gavin Newsom and his campaign strategy and his media strategy, etc. And I want to kind of provide some additional context to one of the things that I was quoted on saying in the article. Not because I think it's wrong. I stand by what I said, but because I don't think it's a complete explanation of the argument I was trying to make, and I want to clarify it a little bit. So here's what I said in the interview. And here, I'll put it on screen right now. Goldenson, that's me. Goldenson admires the always-on media strategy of the right, which Newsom is now mimicking. Quote, a good thing about Gavin and his team, the day after Kamala lost, they were like, we're not going to stop campaigning. We're going to keep people talking. We're going to be everywhere, Goldenson says. That's me. And I think they've acknowledged this isn't an even playing field. Charlie Kirk, the Daily Caller, is it the morally right thing to engage on? Maybe not 100%, but what else can we do? We need to take advantage of the opportunities we have in their spaces because their spaces dominate. That's what I said. Now, I stand by everything I said there. However, that description is only part one of a two-part strategy, and the entire strategy falls on its face if you are not able to complete the second part of the strategy. So, part one of what any Democratic campaign needs to be doing right now, nationally or locally or statewide, to challenge conservatives in this media ecosystem, is we need to be campaigning everywhere, all the time, all at once. Pete Buttigieg did a really good job at this when he ran for president, right? He was on every podcast. He was on every local news station. Liz Smith, his communications consultant, did a really great job building that strategy. But here's the thing. The reason he was able to do that so well is because Pete Buttigieg was very good at being able to argue for his policy positions and make his arguments authentically wherever he went. If you can't do that, if you can't stand your ground in these spaces, then it's a failed strategy, because part two is not just getting to the spaces. Part two is standing your ground, fighting, debating, not giving in to their arguments, not trying to pretend to befriend them in order to get to their audience. That is a failed strategy. We need to get into these spaces and hammer them over the head. Charlie Kirk, RIP, Ben Shapiro, the Nelk Boys, Turning Points USA, right? All of these conservative spaces, we should be going there, but we need to fucking hammer them with our message. And that is my concern about Gavin Newsom right now. This isn't a knock on him. It's a strategy critique, which is, it's not good enough to get into their spaces. If you get into their spaces and then you give ground, you start giving ground on trans issues, you start trying to befriend them by saying that your son is a fan of theirs, that's bad. That's a bad message, brother. And that's not how we win. That's not how you win. So putting on the political consultant hat, I just think like, sure, everybody should be hitting these spaces as hard as they can and then fighting as hard as they can once they get there. That's all.